A sitting president's wife suing a U.S. conservative firebrand. This isn't just gossip. This is about free speech, global reputations, and one question. Where's the line between opinion and defamation? The Macrons say Candace Owens went too far. Owens says she's being silenced, and the outcome, it could set a massive legal precedent. Welcome to Just for Sherry, where we give commentary that goes where others won't. Today, we'll be digging into the lawsuit that was filed by France's first couple, the Macrons, against U.S. conservative commentator Candace Owens. It's a 22 counts lawsuit of defamation. So let us talk about it. December 2023, Candace Owens publicly claims on her podcast that Brigitte Macron, France's first lady, was born male. Those claims travel fast, amplified by clips, memes, and social media chatter. Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron stayed quiet at first, but now silence has turned into legal action. I want to start by saying this. The claims made by Candace Owens concerning Brigitte Macron not being born a woman, therefore being born a man, did not actually originate from Candace. These claims and these allegations have been going on, have been heard and spread in France for some time. Different bloggers, different journalists have been claiming that, and one in particular, Xavier Hussard, wrote a book about it. He did a whole investigation, wrote a book about his beliefs based on the investigation that he did, that Brigitte not only is not a woman, but that she took on the identity of her brother, Jean-Michel Trignot. These claims were then commented on by Candace Owens on her podcast. She did a whole, I believe, six episode series on the topic. The series is named Becoming Brigitte, where she talked about what Xavier Hussard claimed in his book, and I think she even had him on as a guest and interviewed him. So that's kind of how these came about. And the reason why I want to start by saying this is because a lot of people that have been talking about this have been watching videos, including even on CNN and all of that. They're all making it seem like the claims are about Brigitte Macron's looks. And that's not what it's about. It's about investigations that were made by journalists. And I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just telling you how the claims came about. So it didn't start from Candace. Quite the opposite. The only thing is that Candace, being somebody that has so much influence globally, she is the one that made it really go around and made a lot of people believe those claims as well. So I wanted to start by saying that. The second thing I wanted to also talk on is Brigitte Macron, from what has been reported, met her now husband when she was his school teacher, and she was about 39 years old, and he at the time was about 15 years old. According to Candace's claims, he was 14, but what we see on the internet is that he was 15 years old. Either way, whether he was 15 or 14, it was disgusting that something could start between a teacher, a 39-year-old teacher, and her underage student. And I don't care about the legality of it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the morality of it. And when I say I don't care, I'm not trying to say that legality doesn't matter, because I don't know what the laws are in France concerning just how old one can be before you start a relationship with them. The fact that as a 39-year-old woman, you would be attracted to a kid, oh my goodness. I cannot believe it. If I were his mom, which I heard his parents were distraught. They were just so upset about the whole thing when they found out. I would bring down that school. Like, listen, I will bring down the school and everybody in it. I send my kid to get an education, believing that you guys have the best interest of my kid at heart, and your teacher starts an inappropriate relationship with my kid. Are you kidding me? You see, for me, that's the genesis of this, because I believe that a lot of people didn't really get over that story. You know, France elected them anyway, so she's the first lady, her husband is the president, which means that the majority of them didn't have a problem with it. But it doesn't mean that people can't have an opinion on the matter regardless. I never cared for Brigitte because of this very fact. And I think a lot of people never cared for Brigitte as well because of this very fact. Not even her looks, it's just the fact that she started an inappropriate relationship, which what we will call it now is called grooming. Because he was just a kid, he didn't know what he wanted. Don't tell me that was love. The kid didn't know what love was. And he started at such a young age that it's obvious that he didn't have any real experience to love, because all he had was this inappropriate relationship he had with his school teacher that was 20-something years older than him. Oh, I don't know. Do the math. However older than him she was. But it was just disgusting. Okay, so I want to start by saying that. I want to say that it's very inappropriate, and it tells us a lot about the woman's character. So when claims like her taking on her brother's identity come up, a lot of people believe it because they don't really think very highly of her to begin with, because of the inappropriate relationship she had with that kid that is now her husband. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Back to the claims. The claims basically say, and I'm not going to talk too much on what Candace documentary says, because I want you guys to form your own opinion. You can go watch it. It's available on her YouTube, Candace Owens. You can watch it if you haven't already watched it and form your opinions. For the sake of this episode, because I wanted to give you guys a factual factual opinion. It's like I'm giving you my opinion, but I also want to have all the facts right. So I had to watch it so I could be able to actually talk on the genesis of all of this and what I think about it. So one of the main things which I will speak on is that they claim, and that is Xavier Poussard, Candace Owens, they claim that Brigitte Macron is actually Jean-Michel Trignaud, which would be her elder brother, and that she took on the identity of her little sister, Brigitte. That's the main claim. So they're saying that at some point in Jean-Michel Trignaud's life, he, transitioned, became a transgender woman, and then took on the identity of Brigitte and has been living as Brigitte ever since. I do not know if it is true. It's just what they claim, and I just wanted to explain that. And what I thought to myself, what I really genuinely thought to myself was this: if you had to accuse me of being a man, if you had to come up with a very, very silly theory that I am a biological man, not only would I not sue you, but I'll make you look so stupid that you will even regret coming up with that theory. I would flood the internet with pictures, because I have them from when I was a kid to now. I have pictures of when I was 1 year old, 3 years old, 2 years old, 4 years old. Listen, I can document my whole life from when I was a kid to now for you in a way that there'll be no doubt about my gender. It wouldn't even be a doubt, right? I would tell you, ask anybody in my life, starting from my teachers in kindergarten to my teachers in elementary school, high school, middle school, college, any of the colleges I attended. I would tell you, pick at random. I don't even want to know who you're asking. And ask them, interview them. I would bring on my brother, the one you claim that is me, and we would be seen everywhere together. We would take pictures, we would do interviews, not necessarily like addressing your claims, because I wouldn't give you that I wouldn't give you that much attention. But we'll do interviews and people will see, yeah, here's my brother, the one that they claim is me. And I think if that had been done, the claims would have died a natural death. The allegations would have just gone into the wind. Because guess what? Brigitte is not the first lady that has been accused of being a man. As a matter of fact, Michelle Obama had those accusations made against her, not because of any investigation, just because people were trying to mock her looks. And it never held ground, because you can see pictures of her from when she was young to when she became a mother. You can see pictures of her. It just never held ground. Because when you make such allegations, it's very, very easy to debunk. One of the easiest allegations to debunk is the one of gender, because it's easy to prove. And I think you would all agree with me, it's very easy to prove. If you tell me you have 3 kids, like in her case, Brigitte has 3 kids, right? I would bring out pictures of me and my kids when they were small, when they were teenagers, at every point of their life, because every parent has them, right? Every parent has pictures of different stages of their children's lives. So what I don't understand, and the reason why I said all of this, is why are we talking about a lawsuit when the easiest thing to have done and the most common sense thing to do would be to simply release all of the information and evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that you're a woman? And I'm not saying you have to, like I'm not saying she has to, but since she cares so much, because she obviously cares about the allegations so much that she's suing Candace in America for them. So if you care that much, release pictures, release evidence, show us your brother, like the real Jean-Michel Tragnon, please stand up. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? It's not that hard. It is not that hard to do, except if, oh well, I'm not going to complete that sentence. But you get where I'm going to. It's not that hard to do. You talk about feeling in distress, respectfully, with all due respect. We have had some of the most heinous allegations made, and when I say we, I mean in the US, against Hillary Clinton, for example. She has been accused of, I don't think there's anything under the sun that Hillary hasn't been accused of. She's not suing anybody. She's not claiming distress. And I'm not saying that she didn't feel bad about them, right? Of course she would have felt bad about them. She's human. What she did is she did interviews. She did, she even has a documentary on Hulu where she explained so many of those things and debunked so many of those things. If it gets to you that much, that's what you do. You debunk them with the truth, with the evidence, not just by saying, oh, it's not true because I said so, but by actually showing why it's not true. And people, to an extent, a lot of people are very reasonable. Some are not, but a lot of people are. When the evidence becomes very clear, people will start to believe the truth. And those that don't want to believe the truth, well, it doesn't matter. The opinion doesn't matter, right? And they're more in the minority than the majority anyway. So I wanted the kind of distress that she's talking about, because she didn't do any of these things that I said. She didn't bring out any evidence that would debunk the allegations beyond a reasonable doubt. She let them linger by not bringing out any evidence. And then she's suing Candace in the US, where the bar for defamation is extremely high, because over here we value freedom of speech. So I am not sure who advised her. I think whoever advised her to do this needs to be fired, because regardless of whether she wins this case or not, I think it has brought more of negative attention to her than positive, because now here we are talking about the the indecency, or how inappropriate it was that she started to have whatever she started to have, the relationship, whatever, with a kid, because that's what he was, who is now her husband, when she was his school teacher. We wouldn't have been talking about it right now if not because of this lawsuit. We knew about it, but we weren't talking about it, right? We were too busy with other things. But now we're talking about it. Now we're talking about the fact that where the heck is your brother that they claim that you are? Now we're talking about the fact that, can you please bring out pictures so that this can just get debunked and we can move on? We're talking about all these things that I'm sure she doesn't want us talking about. And so I don't see how this lawsuit helps her. I think it makes it worse. I honestly think it makes it worse. And do I think that she can win the lawsuit? Look, you never know. When it comes to the law, it's so tricky. I think the bar for defamation is very high. I think Candace is not going to back down. She is going to double, triple down on these claims. I think she's very influential. Most people are in support of Candace in this matter. Believe it or not, most people actually are. And another thing is also, she has money to pursue this claim as well. Because guess what? Her husband, George Farmer, is a millionaire. I think he's worth hundreds of millions, if I'm not mistaken. She's worth a few millions as well. Her husband is very rich. So they're going to lawyer up. They're going to lawyer up, and it's going to be a war. I mean, you know what I mean when I say war, but a legal war, and which we are going to be following and keeping you updated on and giving you our opinions on. So I don't know that it was a good decision on Brigitte's part. Maybe that was what the fight, the fight that we saw in the plane where she physically attacked her husband Macron with her two hands. Maybe that's what it was about. I mean, I honestly suspected that it was about this even then when I saw it. And while we're on that topic, is it not funny? Actually, not funny, sad, that a lot of people did not see that as domestic abuse because it's from a woman to a man. And if you don't know what I'm referring to when she hit him publicly, guys, in public. When I saw that, I was like, yep, that looks like someone that's been groomed from when he was a kid and now doesn't know how to stand up for himself because all he has ever known is that woman. So she has so much power over him. That's how that looked. And it was disgusting as well. Just by the way. Yeah. Just like it's double standards that we don't talk about what happened in terms of how old they were when they met and when they started stuff. I think if it had been reverse was the case and the teacher was a male and the student was a female, I think the reaction would have been very, very different. I think people would have been way more vocal about expressing how disgusting it really is. But again, we're still getting to that point where we can start to stop applying double standards to things that don't deserve double standards. The lawsuit isn't in France. It's filed in Delaware, the corporate capital of America, and the jurisdiction known for complex civil cases. Why Delaware? Because Owens Media Operations are registered there, and they're not holding back. 22 counts of defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and reputational harm. On one side, Owens is calling it a PR stunt and doubling down, saying, quote, "I am not shutting up." On the other, the Macrons argue that this is about protecting dignity and truth against reckless online smear campaigns. But this isn't just about two people fighting over rumors. If the Macrons win, it could redefine what counts as defamation online, even for content creators in the US. And if Owens wins, it strengthens free speech protections for controversial public commentary worldwide. I also wanted to point out that it's interesting to me that Emmanuel Macron has so much time in his hands to be pursuing this lawsuit together with his wife when all that is going on in Burkina Faso with France and their alliance practically being gone, and all the other countries in West Africa also cutting ties with France. All of that is happening. And then the war between Ukraine and Russia is going on as well, where Macron is supposed to help with peace. Like, how the heck does this dude have so much time in his hands? Like, what's going on? Are you not busy with all this other important stuff? Instead, he's pursuing a lawsuit against a YouTuber because his wife's feelings were hurt about something she said. Come on now. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I'm not saying that the claims are true. I'm just saying there's a better way to go about this. There's a better way to go about this that will not require this lawsuit. If you're a woman, be a woman. Show pictures. Do whatever. If you don't want to show pictures, it's also fine. Just mind your business in whatever palace you are in and face the things that really matter in the world. I mean, listen, this is getting ridiculous. I'm getting a little bit heated up. Owens is framing the case as a free speech issue. She tweeted, "This is a foreign government trying to censor American voices." She says she's being punished for asking uncomfortable questions and is refusing to retract the claims. But critics say this isn't about free speech. It's about spreading harmful, baseless claims about someone's identity.
A year ago, when I said that I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man, there were many people, of course, who did not believe me because that just sounds crazy. But even those people, thanks to Emmanuel Macron's strongly worded letter, which he had his legal team put together and asked me not to publicize, are now starting to pay a little bit of attention.
If you know anything about Candace Owens, you know that she doesn't back down. So for people who think that this may end in a settlement, I highly, highly doubt it. I think Candace is going to go all in. I think this is going to increase how influential she is, because a lot of people are going to go watch the documentary that people hadn't watched before. A lot of people are going to be watching her podcast now. She's going to get way more viewers than she had before. Even more people are going to get on her side. Yes, she has a lot of haters. She has a lot of powerful enemies because she has said some crazy things in the past, which I'm not going to repeat on the show. So as a result of that, she has a lot of enemies. But in this particular case, I think she's going to get a lot of supporters. Not necessarily because people believe that Brigitte is a man, and I don't know whether she is or not, but because I think people are not going to be happy with the fact that leaders of another country are coming to sue a YouTuber on the Oscar. It has never happened. There is no precedent for that, and there's a reason why there's no precedent for that. So I don't know what makes these people think that they are somehow different. They're not the first people that have had claims made against them, allegations made against them that could hurt their feelings. They're not the first. Just go and check. First ladies, presidents have been called all sorts of names. They've been accused of all sorts of things. No one has ever sued, because when you wear that crown that you wear, it gets heavy a lot of times. And when you choose to get into those roles, there's a lot that comes with it. So don't complain when the heat comes, okay? People talk. And when you're in public office, people talk even more about you. And now we have YouTube, we have social media, so people get to speak even more than they used to speak before. It is what it is, okay? It is what it is. And I'm not saying that there are not cases in which defamation applies. I don't think that doing commentary and talking on what was reported by somebody else would apply to defamation. How do you prove that she had malicious intent when all she did was basically say, yeah, I read this book by Xavier and I'm talking on what was read and I'm giving you my opinion on what was written in that book? How is that malicious? She doesn't know for sure that what Xavier wrote in the book is true. She's just giving her opinion. So I don't know how they're going to prove that it's malicious. But again, except if for some strange reason, being that the case was was filed in Delaware. I know that they have very serious laws over there, but except if for some strange reason the court somehow gives preference to the first lady and their husband because of who they are, which I would hope that's not the case. I would hope that the law applies equally to everybody. You don't need to like Candace. Trust me, I know she said some crazy stuff, but I don't know that I like the power imbalance in this lawsuit. It just seems like they are all the way up there with all of this power and all of these connections, and they're suing a YouTuber, and it just doesn't seem right, especially suing for something so stupid. Like, you tell me that I'm a man, I'll laugh at you. That's what I'll do. I'll laugh at you. I'm like, yeah, just get out of here. That's what I'll tell you. Stupid. Yeah, because I know I'm not. Because I know I'm a woman. Because I know that it's obvious. Because I know that if you dig, all you will find is that I'm a woman. This lawsuit hits us something deeper. The global ripple effect of online commentary. Can someone in America make a claim about a European leader and face consequences? Should personal identity be protected differently in the age of viral clips? And are we seeing a new era of cross-border reputation lawsuits? That's what I think about it. I will try and keep you posted. If something meaningful comes up, of course, this is going to be a long lawsuit, I'm assuming. So that means we're going to have to cover this story more than just once. And if something comes up, I will come back here and tell you about it, tell you my opinion, and try and present you with the facts as I do that. But I do want to hear your opinion. I want to hear what you think. Whose side are you on? And I'm not talking about whether you believe or not that Brigitte is a man. I just want to know if you believe that this is free speech, or that Candace was reckless, and that this is defamation, and that she does deserve to be sued, and that you basically hope that the Macrons win the lawsuit. So I want to hear your opinion from both sides. You can go to the comment section, tell me what you think. As you do that, like, share, and subscribe. And God bless you all. Thank you so much for tuning in today.